Welcome back, folks. I'm me, Phil Terrell. You're watching part 7 of the Final Fantasy VIII Let's Play. So, we finally made it to Galbadia Garden, and as you can see here, they have a bit of an air force here. And Galbadia Garden's actually quite a bigger, it's quite a bit bigger than Balam Garden. I don't know. I went potato there for a second, but according to the characters, it is a bit bigger, and it's also quite a bit more quieter since it's more militaristic than Balam Garden. It's not so free-spirited, but the characters here make a mention, and Zell says it's quiet, and Squall's like, I like it, because it's quiet. So Quistis is going to temporarily leave our party, and we're going to have free reign, a bit of free reign in the garden. Not complete free reign, because some of the areas will be locked off from us or guarded from us by some of the faculty. And so we're going to go in, and one thing I'm going to do is, first I'm going to save my game, because I'm going to play a bit of Triple Triad here. And when I say a bit, I probably spent like 30 to 45 minutes playing Triple Triad. But you're going to want to examine the middle here. There's a haste draw point, and haste is a pretty nifty spell because it will increase your ATB bar in battle. I think it'll double the speed of it, or raise it by 50% speed. Not entirely sure, but it does make a substantial difference in your ATB bar speed. So the guard there is not going to let us go into the classroom or wander the halls. It will let us go into random classrooms that are empty or classes have been dismissed. So nothing particular in that area. But on the opposite end, there's a classroom where a student will use level 6 boss cards, and they're pretty powerful, because if you're just using just normal 1 through 5 cards, well then obviously level 6 will be stronger, right? But they're pretty strong. They'll have like 7 and 8 numbers on some of their slots. And to digress a little bit, the Hockey Arena here has a monster team that you'll be able to fight much later in the game, because we'll actually be coming to Galbadia Garden much later at the end of Disc 2, and we'll have to run through here, and if memory serves, we'll fight one of the encounters here, which are hockey monsters. So that's kind of cool and interesting. But if you talk to this gentleman right here, the one on the left, and you play him at some cards, you can get your chance of getting a lot of powerful level 6 spells, cards, and generic 1 through 5 cards as well. So I'm just showing off the battle with one of my battles with him, and you can see there he has the spider bot, and he has an Abaddon on the top left as of right now, and they're all pretty good cards. Some of them I pick over the others because some of them require a lot to card mod, and I normally just go after the ones that only require 1, because nothing in level 6 is super game breaking, but they are kind of useful cards in the ammo department. Because if you decide to grind out here, you can, and also some items that are stones, but you can get some Elvaret cards which will refine into Death Stones, Abaddon which refines into Dark Ammo, Trauma which mods into Demolition Ammo. I'm always going to mispronounce this boss's name. Oil Boil into Fire Ammo, and then Krista into Holy Stones, and that's actually my favorite out of all the level 6 cards. Now the Krista cards, once you refine them into Holy Stones, you get 10 per Krista card. You can refine those Holy Stones with the life magic refine that you get from Siren. You can turn them into powerful holy spells that you can put to one of your characters. Holy is a kind of like an end game spell that most Final Fantasies get, but we can get it as early as Disc 1, and it junctions quite nicely into a lot of stats. So I highly recommend you kind of stock up on those if you decide to do this. You don't necessarily need to get 100, but when I get a chance and I see a Krista, I'm going to go after it over anything else. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time refining my items into magic, and some of the good items that I got were Windmills from Abyss Worms, North Winds from Snow Lions, Holy Stones from Krista, Cockatrice Pinions from Cockatrice cards, and Betrayal Swords from Forbidden. Now, Windmills will refine into very broken tornado magic. And again, the spell itself is strong, but it's not so much the spell that I'm valuing that magic for, but the ability to junction into stats. Because again, Tornado is a very good high power spell. Blizzaga, that comes from the North Winds. You get 20 Blizzagas from one of them, and that's a 3rd tier Blizzard spell. So something that you should only have access to at level 30 when you're drawing that spell from certain enemies, but we're going to go ahead and get it here. Holy Stones already talked about. Cockatrice Pinions will modify into break spells, and break spells are one of my favorite status magics in the game. And they also junction pretty good in stats if you don't have junction attack. It doesn't ever hurt to have that into your magic defense. Sorry, not magic defense, your status defense slots. And then Betrayal Swords will go and become confused spells, which confused spells are just overall really good, especially when you go Malboro hunting in Disc 3. But if you decide to grind out Malboro tentacles by cards, you know, that kind of defeats that purpose, but I don't do that. So now, with all that done, I'm going to go ahead and advance the plot. And we're going to go into a waiting room. And, well, a lot of stuff is going to come to a head. And some of our characters are going to have a lot of things to say. And in particular, Squall is going to kind of, for lack of better words, his persona of being a loner and not caring what other people think kind of starts to come apart here. So we're going to be in this waiting room, and if you want to progress the plot, you got to talk to all 3 of our party members that are with us, and then Quistis will come into the room and progress the plot. And Quistis is going to tell us that Galbadia Garden understands our situation, and they tell us that Balam Garden is going to be safe, since Galbadia is going to consider the attack on the president an independent action, and there's official notice from the government that the Balam Garden will not be held responsible. And Zell's like, oh, good, thank goodness. And Zell makes mention that Cypher's taking all the blame, and he says, well, his sentence has been carried out, which means he was executed. Because, you know, he attacked the president. That's not very cool. And Renoa goes so far as saying that he sacrificed himself for the Forest Owls, which kind of interesting that she says that in hindsight, because they never mention the Forest Owls ever again from this point. No, I take that back. They mention it once or twice. But Sophie, if you talk to all these characters, they all have something to say about Cypher. And Sophie says, Zell, you really hated Cypher, didn't you? And Zell's like, well, he was one of us. I didn't necessarily hate him. Quistis' take on it is, as a instructor, he was troubled, but maybe she could have probably done more. And that's what I get from it. And Renoa is pretty interesting because she says that she liked him. She felt that when she talked to him, she felt like she could take on the world. And she even goes so far as to say that she thinks she was in love. And she wonders how he felt. And, well, all this is going to weigh on Squall's mind because they're all talking about Cypher in past tense. And I imagine in Squall's mind that Cypher was a bit of a rival to him, and now he's gone and Cypher's Squall's all left by himself. And he doesn't like the idea of people talking about him in past tense. And he thinks, well, if I die, is this what they'll do with me? Just talk about me in past tense. And like I said, Squall being the loner and the person who doesn't care, that facade kind of starts to shatter and crack right here, or crack and then shatter, because he's like, I won't have it. And everyone's like, you're really mad? He's like, and he's like, I'm not gonna have anyone talk about me in past tense. And Zell's like, buddy, wait. I swear, Zell tries so hard to be Squall's like BFF in this game. But we're gonna go ahead and go to the auditorium just to show off where it's at, because this is the location of the final boss in Disc 2. We're gonna go up here, and Squall's gonna be like, attention, 1, 2, 3, whatever. One thing I like to do in Final Fantasy is anytime there's a podium, I do like to have Squall run up to it, and then in my mind I like to think he's just like, whatever. Little catchphrase in Final Fantasy. One I don't do, I don't think, is whenever the scene in Telin City when you have to confront the sorceress over there. Hint, hint, we're gonna have to do that. But Zelle's gonna be doing push-ups here in the hallway, and then we can go all the way back here for a draw point, but not much else, because if you try to go through the door here, you'll go into the hallway, but there'll be nothing you can do here. There'll be a save point, but that's it, and really nothing to do here. So to progress the plot, we're going to go into the center area, and we're going to get a little bit of a visit from two characters we haven't seen since Belong Garden, since we left Belong Garden. So go here, and somebody's going to be like, Squall, yo! Or yo, Squall. So Raijin and also Fujin are going to be here in Galbadia Garden because the train system in Timber shut down because of the whole president occupation fiasco that went down. And Raijin and Fujin brought orders from Headmaster Cid, and Squall's like, what kind of order? Raijin's like, I don't know. So did they have like a letter or something that they just hand delivered, or did they literally just could not comprehend what Cid said? But with all that said, they're wondering where Cypher is, especially Fujin. Fujin's like, Cypher? Oh yeah, it wasn't Cypher with you. And then Squall's like, I believe Cypher may be dead. And Fujin's like, gasp. Then Fujin's like, lies. And Raijin's like, nah, he wouldn't put up with the trial, let alone an execution. That just wouldn't be Cypher's style. So they're gonna go and try to find Cypher. Well, you know, good luck trying to find a dead guy. But now we're gonna get a little bit of a message at the top. Says Cid team report to the front of the entrance. So we're gonna go there. So we're gonna talk to Quistis. Quistis is like, it's time to go, let's go. So the whole team is going to march out to the front gate. And we're gonna be waiting for the headmaster of Galbadia Garden, whose name is Martine, and Squall leaves. That was unintentional, but it is what it is. So if you want to progress the plot, you gotta talk to Renoa. Renoa's gonna make a mention that she's gonna pretend that she's gonna be a Cid. That way, it'll be less complicated that way. And so Martine's gonna roll up here in his vehicle, and he's gonna skirt right next to us, and he's gonna roll up out of his vehicle, and he's gonna look super professional. We're gonna salute him, and everyone knows gonna try to salute, but not in unison, and it's gonna look incredibly awkward. So Martine is gonna let us know that he has orders from Headmaster Cid, and Galbadia Garden has decided to collaborate with him on this side project of Cid's. And the reason for this, it's more of a mutual benefit for Galbadia Garden, because the Sorceress Edea is going to want to use Galbadia Garden as a base for her ambassador duties. And even though it's an ambassador duty, the peace talks are really just a cover-up, because the world fears the powers of a sorceress because of wars in the past, like the Sorceress War. And because of that fear, Galbadia is going to use that to get a upper hand in negotiation talks. And Galbadia's main objective is world domination. And so this mission is to remove her from that position. And Squall's going to make a mention of the orders that they need a sniper, but none of them have that skill. So Galbadia Garden is going to loan us their elite sniper, Irvin. And for what reason do we need a sniper for a mission to deal with the sorceress? Well, it's pretty kind of obvious at this point. We're going to the sorceress. We're going to take her out. So Irvin's job is to 360 no scope Sorceress Edea, and if he does fail, which there's a highly likely chance of him failing because, you know, for tension reasons in the plot, we gotta have an ATB battle. Because if he fails, we gotta do that ATB battle. So Martine makes it clear that failure is not an option. And Irvin in the first disc, and also in a bit of the second disc, he's a bit of a carefree character, much like Selphie. And if you played through Final Fantasy VIII already and you know the backstory of all these characters, Irvin's choice of dialogue and how he treats the party kind of makes sense for his backstory. So Irvin's job is to take out the sorceress, and then the Cid's job is to charge the sorceress if they fail. I've already said that twice, but I'm reiterating that again. So we're going to have to go to Delin City and meet with General Caraway in order to carry out this operation. And Irvin's going to make the brilliant suggestion of having Renoa and Selphie in his party, and we get Zell and Quistis. And yeah, Squall can have a bit of a sarcastic remark there, like, yeah, have a good time. And Renoa and Selphie are going to rub that in Squall's face, and he's going to be kind of oblivious to what he just said. And Irvin is quite the ladies' man, as you can see here. Zell's going to get a bit upset about this because I don't know why. He doesn't really have a romantic interest in Selphie or Renoa. And Quistis, being a bit jelly because she didn't get picked, decides to get cozy up to Squall, which may or may not be her romantic feelings for Squall coming up to the surface again, but or her feelings to be around Squall anyways. So we're going to get introduced to switching party members. So now we have the 6 party members that we are going to be with for the rest of the game. We're going to split up with them a few more times throughout the game, but in a nutshell, these are the 6 party members we'll have for the remainder of the game. And like I've said in the previous parts, if I'm able to, in my own private playthroughs, I'll generally keep Squall, Renoa, and Zell, and then the other 3 I don't really care about. I mean, they're good party members, but those are the 3 I do like the most. But for the sake of variety, I'm going to go ahead and change my party members up here and there versus what I would normally pick. So, one thing that I will say I don't use at all is Junction Exchange. I don't like it because it moves the magic that you have equipped from one party member to the other, which is a very speedy way of junctioning instead of having to junction in Guardian Forces and all that, but I don't mind that. But I can see why people like that. But anyways, moving on. These are Behelmels, and Behelmels have saw blades that you can steal for Renoa's weapon, the Rising Sun, I believe. I want to say it's the Rising Sun. Yeah, it is the Rising Sun. And Behelmels, you can draw Sleep and Thunder Magic at their low level, Berserk and Thunder at mid level, and then you can also draw Confuse and Thundaga at high levels. They also have a very rare chance of dropping a laser cannon at high levels, and that's something honestly I didn't know until I did a little bit of research into this part. So that's pretty cool. So with that, we'll go into the train station area. You get a little bit of dialogue with some of the students here. They're a little bit worried. This first group anyways is worried about the war that's going on with Galbadia and the sorceress that's coming into play. And they're kind of wondering if the Sorceress War is going to take place, which the Sorceress War is a pre-Final Fantasy VIII story event. Happened before the timeline of the story, where a lot of kids became orphans, and that's going to play a very significant part in the backstory. So the world doesn't like sorceresses before that, and they're a bit of an ostracized group of people. And sorceresses have existed since time immemorial. There's a bit of a backstory with them in, I want to say I'm trying to remember what it's called. There's a place in the menu where you can go and look up information pertaining to the world of Final Fantasy VIII. I think it's tutorial, So you go there and you can look at some information. But if it's not there, then it's in the Galbadia Gardens the classroom where Squall was a student. Jeez. But we already made it. You need 3,000 gil to have this train ride. So make sure you have that. Squall's going to learn from the previous two train rides that Selphie's going to want to go into the back room to watch the train move. So he's going to go ahead and do that. To advance the plot, you just got to go to the door, and then Irving, Renoa, and Selphie will come in. So go there, and then they will come in, and then the plot will advance. Selphie, of course, will be very, very happy that we are opening the door before she got there. And she's like, hee hee, you caught on. So the train's going to start moving. And then Irving is going to make a bit of a comment here. Once we start moving. It says, it must be faint. I believe that's the line it says. And while we're riding on this train, Irving is going to try to put on his moves on Selphie and Renoa, but he's going to first move to Selphie. And the dialogue between Irving and Selphie, specifically the dialogue with Selphie after the conversation happens, it's pretty interesting. So we're going to go check up on them, break up this little... We're going to be the awkward third wheel to break up this conversation. So Irving wants to hook up with Selphie from the way this dialogue's going. At least that's what it looks like. At the very least, he's hitting on her. And Selphie's like, no, it's not a sign of love. And then Irving's going to be like, pardon me. And then walk away. I don't know. I always feel like there should be country music playing when Irving's like in the center of the camp. So Selphie says her heart's pounding. She doesn't know what it is. And Squall kind of brushes it off as pre-mission jitters. But there's a little bit more to that than meets the eye. I'm not talking about Transformers. So we're going to go back to the main area. And then Irving will be putting on his moves on Renoa. And Renoa, well, Renoa ain't having that. Even though she was playing along with Selphie when Irving picked him. Quisa's being the big sister of the group is like, hey, you need to stop, lollygagging. This is a mission. We need to be serious. And Irving is just wanting to cut up and not be a loner, even though he says by his own admission that snipers are loner. All that good stuff. I'm probably looking a little bit too much into this, but I feel like he wants to be a part of this group, and it kind of goes against his nature. He doesn't really know how to express himself. But Zell is going to be a little bit fed up with it, and he's going to punch the train in frustration. And the train decides to vibrate with a minor vibration, as the announcer says. And I imagine that's not because all the strength up, the strength stat up gains I've gotten from Ifrit with Zell. So we're going to choo-choo along all the way to Delling City. And this is the city that Laguna, Kiros, and Ward were at in the very first dream sequence. So we're going to go all the way back here, go through the train platforms and escalators to get to Delling City. And in the original version of Final Fantasy, there would be like 2-3 kids that jumped on the opposite escalator, and I kind of missed that. It's a very minor thing, but those kind of things I do miss in my Final Fantasy VIII original OG game. So, as you can see here, not much has really changed in Delling City since Laguna's time. We're going to talk to Quisis. Squall's going to make some comments to his party, and he's going to wonder if Laguna is here. Now, we're going to make a few little, how shall we say, I should have put the game over thing right there. The game over screen. And then Squall gets isekai'd into like some kind of isekai anime. Maybe he gets isekai'd into like a Tales game or something like that. Anyways, we're gonna do a little bit of side travel here to little shops and everything. We're gonna go to Galbadia Hotel, see what Julia's up to. Okay, no Julia, but there's this person down here that says, you saw it in my eyes, right? You're up for a challenge, right? And she's just wanting to play Triple Triad with her starter deck of level 1 monsters. And she has no idea that Squall is a professional Triple Triad player at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and rent a room so I can get a magazine of Timber Maniacs right underneath the middle bed. So you can go ahead and get that. and then we're gonna go back and challenge that person to triple triad and show her what's up. You know, don't be challenging Squall with those puny level 1 cards. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And again, she just has level 1 cards, so she's a bit happy and she doesn't know what she's into. She's like, bring on your cards! And I'm over here dropping 3 level 10s, a level 9, and a level 4 on her. Pretty funny. Anyways, continue on. We're going to go towards the screen, and on the other side though, and we're going to go to the item shop and the junk shop. First up is the item shop, and we're going to buy some items here just to round out our inventory. And I'm going to choose to buy some tents, choose to buy some remedies, and some holy water for some reason, echo screens for some reason, and soft for some reason. I don't know, I just saw that, hey, I needed to buy some of this, but pretty soon we won't actually need that because we'll get an ability from Siren that's called Treatment. And Treatment, I haven't started learning yet, but Treatment is basically an Asunia for free in exchange for one of your ability slots, your command slots in battle. So I'm debating if I want to get punishment for Squall, because I made the realization, oh yeah, I don't have the parts for Lionheart, so I want to go ahead and not upgrade them. Keep the Star Fragments for Selfie. I want to upgrade Quistis' weapon to the Slain Tail, Selfie's to the Morning Star, and honestly, in hindsight, really the only 2 ultimate weapons that are worth it really are Squall and Selfie's. Squall mainly because you want access to the Lionheart Limit Break, and for Selfie because she has perfect accuracy, and this really helps with Cactuar hunting much later in the game. So now that we got all of our shopping done, we're gonna go ahead and go to General Caraway's mansion, but you just follow the way I'm going, and we'll get there in no time. You can actually ride the buses in Delian City to get to General Caraway's mansion if you want, or just ride it. They're free, of course. You don't have to pay anything. But once we get to General Caraway's mansion, we're gonna have to talk to his guard, and his guard is gonna have a test for us. And the test is pretty simple. The test is to go into the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, because General Caraway wants to test all the people who come to his mansion to talk to him. So we're no exception, even though he wants to see us, because we're the ones that are supposed to carry out this plot to assassinate the sorceress that is going to attempt to run his government. But anyways, I digress. So, the Tomb of the Unknown King, it's very simple. If you just want to progress the plot, you just go a few feet into the dungeon, or I should say a few screens into the dungeon, and then there's a sword on the ground, and then you just gotta copy down that ID number, and then it's pretty simple from there. Just go back and report that ID number back to his guard, and you're done. But if you buy these hints from the guard, he'll say that there's a guardian force there, and then you can also buy a locator for your map, which is kind of awesome. And well, and then you also have him escort you out of town. So there's that. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time here refining some items into magic, and for Irving, because Irving's going to be my party, and Renoa is also going to be my party, because Renoa is going to be my permanent magic user when I say permanent, but I'm going to be switching her out occasionally, but she's my primary magic user when I can have her. And Irving, just to get a little bit of usage out of Irving. And I feel that Irving really, I feel he would have shined a lot more if Final Fantasy had more of a back row system, like 7 and before, and then 9 as well, because 9 also had a back row system. But we don't have that, so Irving's no different than anyone else. But we're going to go ahead and give him some very basic magic to fill in his magic pool, because he comes in with no magic at all. And that's not bueno. And I should have really put Shiva, Siren, and Diablos on 3 separate party members. That way they all have magic junction. They could have had decent magic stats. That way they can draw good magic from 1/2 of the Guardian Force that we're gonna fight. As yes, I said 1/2. There's 2 battles we gotta fight. One of them's a single battle, and the other one's a double battle at the end once we beat them. or we beat them to have them join us. And yeah, having good magic stats will allow us to draw life magic from them, and life magic is a very potent magic for stats. In one case, I think for Renault, I think her magic is like 30 something, I believe. Let me just check it out whenever yeah, it's like 37, but with life magic, I think that bumped up to like 66, which is a sizable jump. That's almost double. Almost. If it was 72, that would have been double, I think, or 74. Anyways, so we want to do that. We want to make sure that we have magic stats on all three of our characters if at all possible, but I didn't do that. So I'm going to pay for that. But Irving, I like to give him attack and vitality for his stats that he's going to gain. And then when we get the Guardian Force in there, we want to have it start to learn its HP abilities. That way we can get HP bonus. But we're going to get to a fight right here. And I'm going to skip to the victory right away. And it's a Wendigo, and I'm going to card mob the Wendigo. So that's going to be pretty interesting. But the reason why I want to show it is because Siren learns Life Magic Refine. And Life Magic Refine is a pretty good ability because it allows us to take items and refine it into life magic, and also unlife magic, because we can learn death as well from some items. Yes, with the power of life, we can give death to enemies. And I want to go ahead and do that, I guess, in the dungeon. But we're going to fight into a bluebird here, which I'm not going to try to pronounce the name. It's a pretty awkward name for me to pronounce, so I'm not going to do it. But Futurefield can post the name up there, I'm sure. And this bluebird doesn't have anything remarkable on it, except for float magic, which is useful in the dungeon, which I'll talk about that once we get into the dungeon. And at high levels, it has windmills that you can steal. And windmills are very good, as I mentioned before. It will teach your character's tornado magic, 1 for 20. So with 5 windmills, we get 100 tornado spells, and that's pretty busted, because tornado is a high level spell that junctions really well for your stats. Now, float, I guess I'll just go ahead and talk about float now. Float magic is pretty useless in my opinion, because you can junction earth magic into your stats if you have it, but also float's good if you don't have that, but I digress. Float magic, you cast it on yourself, you will float in the air, and when you float in the air, you are immune from earth magic. So that's kind of useful. Earth magic can't hit you, and the second boss in the Tomb of the Unknown King has an earth ability, which is pretty painful. But also, the bosses have a passive HP regen ability. For as long as they're touching the ground, they'll gain HP occasionally. So if you cast float on them, you rob them of that ability. It makes them a little bit easier to take out. And the students give you this hint when they run out of the tomb. They'll just say, "Float!" And that's a bit of a hint to have that spell handy. There's a protect draw point here to the left, and then there's a save point to the right. So we're gonna go ahead and refine some magic and then save, and then from there we'll go into the tomb, and then from the tomb it's a pretty simple path. It looks complicated when you look at it on the map, but it's super easy once you understand how the rooms work. So we're gonna go ahead and give death and holy magic to Squall. The Squall is the main character, and I want my main character to be super busted. For life magic, death is really good for stats and also for protection against death spells. And mesmerized blades are really good because they teach regions, and regen is a very potent magic for stats. If you taught Quistis White Wind, then the Whispers can refine into 50 Kiragas, which is pretty good for junction into Spirit and HP, I believe. Chef knives that you get from Tomberry cards and Tomberries themselves, when we eventually get to those little buggers, their chef knives will refine into 30 death spells as well, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and do all that. We're going to re-equip different magics, and death gave Irving a 48 magic stat. And let's see here, what else am I going to give him? I'm not going to give him anything. Squall's pretty much okay. Renoa. Let's see. I think she's okay. I think everyone's okay at this point, so we're going to go ahead and look at our Guardian Forces. We're going to make sure Guardian Forces all have abilities that they are going to be able to learn, that are useful. In the case of Siren, treatment is that free Asunia I was talking about earlier. The cost is just to have it equipped in your commands for battle. So for some that might not be worth it, but for others it might be worth it. So go through this first screen here. The sword we are looking for is right there on the ground. My number is 73. It will change from playthrough to playthrough. And to get to the Guardian Forces, what you want to do is you want to keep going right when you're able to. You want to hit all the far extremity rooms from the east, the north, and then the west in that order. And you're going to fight a boss fight in the first room, and then you're going to hit switches in the north and western rooms in that order. This is an Armadodo. We've gotten their cards before, but this is the actual enemy. Armadodos are pretty unremarkable at low levels, but you can card them into their cards, and their cards will refine into a Dino Bone, and a Dino Bone will refine into 20 Quakes, which is pretty busted. You can also steal a Turtle Shell from them, and a Turtle Shell can refine into Protect spells, I believe. And it can also teach Guardian Forces the Vitality plus 20%. And it's also useful for having Squall's weapon refined into the Flame Saber, which is what I have. And during battle, you can knock them over with a physical attack, and they'll waste their turns trying to get up, giving you valuable time to do a little bit more damage to them, and then card them for effectively a Dino Bone. So there's that. And the enemies, like I said, it's pretty unremarkable. I don't find them to be too dangerous even at their higher levels, but they will have Shell at mid level and Quake at high level, and as you saw there, it has Protect at low level. So it'll waste some turns trying to get back on its feet, but I'm going to go ahead and turn into a card here. So I think it's coming up pretty soon. If not, I might have to do a little bit more damage. So we got Armadodo right there. Got the card. We don't get any experience, but we get all the rewards for the Guardian Forces, and we get to keep its card and the items he stole from it, and the AP as well. So pretty awesome. So I'm going to card mod those cards I've gotten up to this point, and I'm going to refine the Armadodo card with Time Magic Refine, which I don't quite understand how Quake Magic's Time Magic Refine, but hey, it is what it is. So pretty broken magic, like I said. Just double checking if I don't have anything that I can use. Just double check. And since I've made the mistake of pushing back on my controller, I want to go ahead and start the dungeon from the very beginning. And wherever you can, go right. If you can go straight, then you go straight, but when it presents you a chance to go right, you go right. And this will allow you to go into the three main rooms that we need to go to in order. So as you see here, I'm just going right whenever I'm allowed. Renoa learned a new Angelo limit break. I'll go ahead and have her learn, I believe, Invincible Moon, which is a pretty broken ability for a limit break if we can ever get it to happen. And we're going to continue going this way, and then we will fight one part of the Guardian Forest, which is Sacred. Not Sacred. It's yeah, this is Sacred, sorry. Sacred's on a switch that we need to beat him and get him to get off it. So that way it opens up the most northern room of the dungeon. So I'm just double checking to have all my stuff in order. I'm thinking to myself, how can I get Squall to have high magic, but I don't have a Guardian Force, air quotes, that's on Squall that has magic junction. So my strategy is to have Irving and Renoa pull as much life magic as possible out of Sacred. Then after the battle, give Squall that magic, and then have them get more life magic in the second battle we gotta have with Sacred, because we gotta fight Sacred twice. So with that said, let's go ahead and start the battle. Just run up to him and we'll fight him. And he's a super easy boss. He's not even going to get the boss music. He's going to get the normal enemy music. And Sacred is just going to pound us with his mace. But the real goal here, in my opinion, is to just draw life magic. Draw the life magic, and that's that passive HP regen ability I was talking about. And he hits pretty hard, so if you can, draw, cast, protect from his magic pool, That way your characters do not take too much damage from his physical attacks. You don't want to take a lot of damage from his physical attacks, especially if you don't have one of your characters with their magic ability cast in magic, or cure magic. So I'm going to go ahead and jump cut here to where I get a lot of life spells, and then, well, eventually I'll jump cut. I still got about, on the slider, I think I have about 1 minute, but as you see there, he has a HP regen. He just attacks with his mace. My characters are just going to draw life magic. So if you have at least 40 magic points on your stats, you should draw a decent amount of spells. If you have what Renoa has with stat for magic, you should always draw 9. So up to you if you want to do this. If you're not up to drawing life magic this way, you certainly don't have to, but again, it's free, minus how much time you gotta spend doing this. And he doesn't hit hard, particularly. He just physical attacks you, and that's it. So, and it also has Berserk magic, Protect magic, and Shell magic, but Berserk you can get from Steel Pipes. Protect, you should already have some Protect spells already, but you can go ahead and draw those if you need. But after all of that, you can go ahead and start your blitzing on Sacred. I'm going to go ahead and start attacking him. Squall is actually going to finish him off with a limit break, because he's going to just make the mistake of hitting Squall, and Squall's not going to like that. And so we're going to limit break him once that opportunity presents itself. So, and also Squall has pretty high attack stat. I think where he does like 700 to 800 per hit. But yeah, he made that mistake and lowered almost 1,000. My bad. Almost 1,000. So, and unfortunately my Protect magic's starting to wear off, and of course Protect, Shell, and Haste will eventually wear off when you use that, but one Renzo Koken should take out Sacred. So we're going to go and finish him off. This will end the boss fight, and what's awesome about this boss fight is we get 20 AP, so we get a sizable amount of AP from beating him. He's like, these guys are strong! Which Sacred actually talks in all upper cases. The other Guardian Force that's with him actually talks in all lower cases, so that's pretty neat, if you notice that detail. If you have Move Find from Siren, you can equip it on your characters, and then you can find secret draw points, which you can still draw from even if you can't see them. And you can also find secret save points that you would not be able to see otherwise. And if you have Move Find, have it equipped. Move to the to the save point, go to your menu, unequip the Move Find, and you should be able to still save. So that's something I like to do. I like to equip Move Find, move to the save point, and then get to when it says save point, you can save your game. Confirm that, go into your menu, unequip the Move Find ability, equip it back with whatever you replaced it with, and then save your game. So you don't actually have to have Move Find to save your game, you just need Move Find to find the save point. So here, I'll move all my life spells to Squall from Renoa, and Squall now has a lot of life spells. So we're going to equip that life to Renoa, to our magic, and it jumped up to 77, I believe. Oh no, that was Demi, I believe that moved. Yeah, it was Demi, my bad. So there, save, turn it off, and it's not there anymore. So now we're going to go into the dungeon, and we're going to go right wherever we can. We're going to fight some enemies along the way. I believe these are Beul's, B-E-U-L, I believe, which are super easy. We fought them in the fire caverns where we got Ifrit. One physical attack is enough to take them out. They only have Fire, Thunder, and Blizzard, or their multi-tiered spells if they're at a higher level. I'm not going to waste very much time with them. I'm just going to take them out, and then we're going to continue into the dungeon. And again, just keep going right. The only other encounters, unique enemy we haven't fought yet is a Flan, but Flans in Final Fantasy VIII are not called Flans, they're called Blobras. I think it's just a pun on blob, but kind of like blob and then raw, so blobra. I don't know. So just keep going to the right as you are able to. And eventually you're going to get to an area where it looks like something lowered into the ground, but we can go over it. And we're going to get into a room that has a dam in it. On the left side, you can find float magic. So you can draw that float magic. And then on the right, unhook the chain. This will cause the dam to fall over. And then the water will start to rush in. And this will start to lower the door on the far western side of the dungeon. And I believe this boss fight is an Armadodo and a Buell, I believe. No, this is a Blabra and a Buell. So the Buell, easy picking, just attack it. Now, Blabras have high physical damage, or physical defense. But their magic defense is just dirt poor. So, if you go into this dungeon with a character with high magic, you can go ahead and wipe them out with magic, or you can summon a Guardian Force and that should take it out. A Guardian Force should easily wipe out these things. Now, they generally only have status magic for their magic pull. They're not super dangerous. I think they have show magic right now, I'm sorry. And then they have status magic at their later levels. But nothing too remarkable about them. I think they have a rune amulet that they drop or you can steal. But otherwise, they're not remarkable enemies. There's nothing special about them. And then I wouldn't recommend carding them because I think for a Blara, you need 5 of them or a pretty high amount of them to card mod them into one rune amulet anyways. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So Shiva is going to make quick work of it. And we can continue on our dungeon run of the Tomb of the Unknown King. So, Squall levels up. I think he should get a strength bonus from that because Ifrit's equipped to him. And then I'm going to go and move my Guardian Forces around. That way Irving can get strength up. So we're almost there. We're going to go keep going right. Keep going right. Straight when we can. So straight is the only path forward. Go straight, but if you can go right, go right. So we're almost there. One more right and we should be on the pathway to the far western room. It looks like we're there. So enter there, and then there is a draw point and there's a hidden draw point and a hidden save point in this room. But hit the switch by these gears on the left side, and this is I believe it was a Cura draw point, or was it a Cure draw point? I think it was a Cura draw point. Let's see. Irving stocks 6 Curas. Okay, so this room right here in the back, just equip, move, find, and then the save point will appear. And then activate the save point, go into your menu, and then save, and then we continue on. But make sure you unequip move, find as well. Replace it with whatever ability you want. So now we want to enter the center room from the south. So if you just keep going straight, you'll see the island in the middle, but you won't be able to access it from its west, north, or east side. You have to come in from the south. So there, we can't access it, so we got to go back. So now we're going to go left. So go left, and then left again. Go left. Come on, Passfield, go left, thank you. So go left once more, and we'll be in the room where the drawbridge has fallen, and we can go across. Now, the bosses here are Earth Elemental, so you want to make sure that you're aware of that. If you have Quake Magic, equip it to your defense, that way you can absorb one of their attacks. If you have Float Magic, then you can go ahead and have that, use that on your team to avoid that attack. Or alternatively, you can equip it use it on Sacred and his brother Minotaur, and they're called brothers. That's the name of their Guardian Force name. You can use Float on the brothers to rob them of their HP regen ability. But if you're pretty high on physical attack and you're pretty high in your magic stat, and you're deciding to cast spells and physically attack them, then that HP regen isn't going to heal them enough to have any meaningful impact to their HP. So just double checking my stuff, and I think we're pretty set. So we're going to go in and we're going to fight Sacred, and we're going to fight Minotaur. And so Sacred is going to summon his brother Minotaur, and we're gonna have to fight. What's interesting about it is we're gonna get a battle where they're both there. Well, sorry, not interesting, but the battle rewards is very, 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 very awesome. So, but we'll talk about that when we beat them. So, the elder brother is the smaller brother, the younger brother is the bigger brother. So it's pretty fun. So we fight them, and Sacred is still going to have his magic pull. Minotaur is going to have double as his rare spell. They all have Berserk, Shell, and I think Protect. Yeah, they all have Protect, but their fourth spell is unique to them. So cast Protect, and then if you haven't done it, draw Life Magic. And I know I'm kind of selling Life Magic, it's pretty important, but it is a pretty powerful spell in my opinion. And once you have that spell, just go ahead and have your normal slugfest with the brothers. Minotaur will have an attack called Mower, where he hits all three of your party members for a physical attack. If you have Protect, well, you cut that in half. Sacred will have his normal poke attack with his mace. Together, they will have a attack called Mad Cow Special, which is an earth attack, and it's pretty damaging. I think it does like 300 or 400 damage at the level I'm at, or the levels they're at. So make sure that you are pretty prepared for that. You can avoid Mad Cow Special with Float on your characters, so you can also do that to avoid the damage. Excuse me. So now, who to take out first is entirely up to you. I'm going to take out Sacred first, and then Minotaur second, but it's entirely up to you who you want to take out first. So for Kieran, I'm going to go ahead and cast Double on Renoa. Double is on Sacred as well, or a Minotaur, if you don't want to waste your double spells. So you can do that. And then Renoa is going to be on Medic duty. She's going to cast Cure from her pull. That way we get the maximum effect of Cure. And this is Mad Cow Special. Did about 350 to each of my party members, so pretty damaging. So you don't want to be hit by that twice, especially with the HP levels I'm at. So when we have her use Cure, we're going to fix up Irving, we're going to fix up Squall, and they should be all good. They can take some more hits. And then I'm going to start focusing all my attacks on Minotaur. So, whoop, hit him for 180. Squall's going to hit him for, I think, almost like a couple thousand. Almost a couple thousand. He hits him for like 1,000, yeah, 1,060. Never mind. Quite a bit of damage. So Renault's going to start curing again. And really, Squall's going to be doing the big damage here. Irving's going to provide support wherever he can. He's going to summon Shiva. But all that, with as much damage as we're doing with Squall, should be pretty easy. Renault's going to cast Fyra. But with that one attack, Sacred's down. It's like, bro, I lost. Ugh. So we're just left with Minotaur. And since Sacred's not on the field no more, Minotaur cannot use Mad Cow Special by himself. So Renault does 1,000 with her magic. And then Squall's going to do another big amount of damage right here. I think this might be enough to take him out. I believe this will be enough to take him out. He does 65 to Squall. So hit him, he does 15, and that's enough to take out Minotaur. And with that, we defeat them, and they will join our party as the Brothers Guardian Force. And the Brothers have some pretty awesome abilities, but the main one you want to be concerned about is, well, the two you want to be concerned with are Defense, I think it's Defend, and the HP abilities, because if you can gain all their HP abilities, their last one in that chain is HP bonus. But we've released the Spirit of the King. He was sealed up in this tomb because the brothers, and thanks to us beating him, he can leave. And he has a bit of a thought, like, is it really necessary to entomb deceased people when all they need to do is go into the next life after their long, hard journey through normal life? So we get their cards, and their cards are pretty worthy to be card modded right away, because both of them will mod, well, one of them will mod into 100 Dino Bones, which can refine into Quakes, and with 100 of them, well, all your party members get Quake, and that's utterly broken. The other one will refine into 10 Adamantines, and Adamantines are necessary to upgrade 3 of the 6 weapons on the characters to their best weapons. Squall, Selfie, and I believe Zell, I think. But yeah, it's because of these cards that I feel that Final Fantasy is never going to have card modding like Final Fantasy 8, because you utterly break this game with it. And I say it a lot in this playthrough, but it's true. But we're going to go ahead and save our game, and that'll be the end of this part, folks. And I'll talk more about the brothers in the next part. So you have a good one, guys. Later, and bye.